While running, it's only natural that the farther you go, the more energy you expend, the more tired you will likely feel. So you are gasping for air, your hands go limp, your legs get heavier, your strides become shorter, your body leans forward and your head begins to droop downward. I don't know what it is or how it happens, but one thing I've discovered is that the more tired you get, the more you find yourself looking at the ground right in front of you. And trust me, there's nothing inspiring, nothing motivating about looking at the ground right in front of you. So what happens is that you are tired, you are looking at the ground, and the more you look at the ground, the more tired you most likely feel. One thing I've discovered that helps is at that particular moment, take your eyes off the ground and look up and look ahead. Just that switch in vision, that switch in perspective has a way of infusing fresh strength and fresh energy into your tired hands and tired legs. And for me, that's just what it is, that we look up, we look ahead to the beautiful horizon. We look ahead at the buildings, and the landmarks that lie in the distance. And we make a commitment that we'll keep going until we get there. We look up at the beautiful clouds, at the beautiful sunset, and let it breathe fresh inspiration into our soul. We look up at the birds flying and the aeroplane moving, and let it be a reminder to us that we do not belong to the ground. We belong to the sky. We were created to soar. We have what it takes to be high flyers and to be top achievers. And for me, that's what it is, that we do not spend our entire time fixated on the ground, but we lift up our eyes and look up and look ahead. But having said that, also remember that we don't spend all our time looking up and looking ahead, that we forget to look at the ground. Because here's the thing, you don't want to keep looking up ahead and fail to see the gutter that is right in front of you. So at the end of the day, the key word there is the word balance. Finding that balance between looking up and ahead and looking to the ground. I like the way media guru Gary Vaynerchuk puts it. He calls it clouds and dirt. So it's about finding that balance between the clouds and the dirt, where the cloud represents our potential, the dream, the goal, the big picture of who we are and what we want to achieve, while the dirt represents the work we have to put in, taking care of our health, taking care of our family, taking care of all the messy details of day-to-day living. And for me, it's just so important that we find that balance between the clouds and the dirt, that we don't spend all our time being fixated on the vision, on the goal, on that big picture, that we neglect our health and our family. They are crying to us for love and attention, but we don't see them. Why? Because we are focused on the vision. And this can happen because focus, while it's great, it can also be blinding. And that's why we have to be careful that we see the big picture, but we don't fail to see the other people that will fit into that picture and make that picture beautiful. If not, at the end of the day, what happens is that we achieve those goals, but have no one around us to celebrate the victory with. And there is nothing worse than getting what you want and end up not wanting what you get. It's one thing to get what you want, it's another thing to want what you get. So it's about striking that balance between the clouds and the dirt. Because if we focus too much on the dirt, what happens is that life ends up becoming routine and boring. If we focus too much on the cloud, what happens is that life becomes empty and a fantasy. So we have to do both. We have to do both things. We have to strike that balance between the clouds and the dirt. We look up and ahead for inspiration, for energy, for zest, for fuel, for fire, to keep us moving on our journey to becoming the very best version of ourselves. But we do not fail to look at the ground so that we do not miss a step or fall into a ditch and end up hurting ourselves. We don't spend all our time imagining and dreaming, but fail to put in the work that is necessary to move the needle of our lives. Those very difficult but necessary tasks. We do not neglect our duties and our responsibilities to take care of ourselves and to take care of our families. And here's the catch. here's the cincha at the end of the day. Everywhere you go, any country you may visit, whether developed or developing, poor or rich, one thing you will always find there is the cloud and dirt. Everyone has access to clouds and dirt. So what it simply means is that we have absolutely no excuse not to fulfill our potential, not to be the very best version of ourselves. Instead of admiring and wishing we had someone else's cloud and dirt, it's our responsibility to look at our own clouds and dirt and ask ourselves, how can I make this 10 times more than what it currently is? It's our responsibility to understand that what is in our hands is more powerful than we can imagine. It's our responsibility to do the creative best we can with our own clouds and dirt. It's our responsibility to do the creative best we can with our own lives.